Hello and welcome to hear about customer case with KONE Corporation. The topic of today is using Adobe Experience Manager guides and the power of DITA to create content for multi-channel delivery. That is a long title, but hopefully you will enjoy the show. And let's start by introducing ourselves. So my name is Hanna Heinonen. I work in KONE R&D with the title Digital Content Lead. I have around 20 years of experience from the technical documentation domain. So I have been working in different roles within technical communications, basically all throughout my career. My main focus areas are information architecture and design, user-centered, task-based documentation, DITA XML, content management systems, digital delivery channels, and then my special interest is XR, and I'm also going to be defending my PhD thesis in that area in August. And then Kristian, please introduce yourself.
Yes, hi also from my behalf, Kristian Forsman, and I'm basically working in KONE IT, so more on the IT side of the content solutions, and been basically doing this kind of job for quite some time. So started with DITA content creation already when it was IBM DITA, but basically been more focused on the technical solutions related to content management, especially the delivery part. So welcome from my behalf as well.
All right, and let's move into the domain. We'll first introduce KONE as a company because probably some of you are not familiar with our business. So just to give you a little bit of context. So KONE, we work in the elevator escalator business and we are a global leader in those. And of course, our drive here is to make cities better places to live with our equipment and our technology. We are really innovative and focus also on sustainability with our new equipment solutions, but also offer quite a lot of business in the maintenance area and different solutions there. Finnish company founded in the beginning of the 20th century and operate currently in more than 60 countries with over 60,000 employees, over 500,000 customers, and also listed in the Helsinki Stock Exchange. If you are more interested in the figures, you can find more information on KONE website. But this is what we are especially interested in, a typical day at KONE. So if you look at our figures from there, so 1 million units in service daily, around 80,000 maintenance visits, about 550,000 customers, and operations in 60 countries. So that means that when somebody is working on an elevator, fixing an elevator, they really cannot rely on knowing each and every single equipment, and they also cannot rely on calling somebody who knows it. So we need to make sure that these people know what they're doing and they do it efficiently in each of these countries. So this is what is driving our development at KONE within the technical documentation domain. Moving on, elevators, they used to be silent boxes on a rope, so mechanical equipment. But what has happened within the past, I would say 5 to 10 years, they've become more and more digital. We get lots of remote data, we get lots of data into the clouds and lots of analytics into that data. So it is more or less now also a software side of business and digital business as well. Our aim is, of course, to fix any problems before they cause a breakdown. So we don't want the so-called call-outs where you cannot use your elevator. So if we see that something is not working as it should, we go and fix it before you actually even notice that. So that is easier for us, and then of course easier for the customers and end users as well. I have a short video here to show how this works. So let's go in there and watch that video.
Every day, around the clock, data is flowing from intelligent, cloud-connected elevators and escalators. But where is it going, and what happens to it? The answer lies with KONE 24/7 Connected Services. We can use the data to improve equipment performance, reliability, and safety, and solve problems before they cause breakdowns. KONE 24/7 Connected Services uses advanced Internet of Things technologies to bring intelligent services to elevators and escalators. Vast amounts of data are collected around the clock from sensors installed in the equipment. Let's take a closer look at how it works. Sensors in an elevator or escalator gather data about critical parameters like usage levels, movement, and speed. This data then flows to the cloud, where the digital brain behind the operation, intelligent algorithms, can do their work. By comparing the information with data gathered from thousands of other identical units maintained by KONE, the system can quickly see if something doesn't look quite right, allowing us to take preventive action. So what happens when the system can see that something might be going wrong? Here the data is showing that these elevator doors are reopening too often, starting to close, then opening again before they're completely shut. This information is automatically passed on to our maintenance team. When a problem does occur, one of our customer care center agents will send a technician to the site immediately to fix it. If there's no immediate risk of a breakdown, our technician will check the relevant components during the next scheduled maintenance visit. For cases that need a little extra attention, one of our technical experts will analyze the equipment data and decide if an additional maintenance visit is needed. It is a cognitive system, which means it gets progressively smarter every time it processes a piece of data. This means our data analysts can continuously improve the way the system works by feeding in data and teaching it new things. KONE 24/7 Connected Services brings together cutting-edge technologies and intelligent algorithms with the expertise of KONE people. The human touch plays a key role in delivering and continuously improving our services. With our digital channels, you see what we see. You can check how your equipment is performing and review what maintenance work we've done using the KONE online portal. And when you're on the move, you can get real-time updates from the KONE mobile app on your smartphone. This transparency means you can stay one step ahead and always keep the right people in the know. For people who use escalators and elevators every day, cloud-connected equipment means a safer, smoother journey. And for our customers, it means fewer unexpected problems and a clear picture of everything that's going on.
Okay, going back to the presentation. So I hope you got the idea of how some of our solutions now work with the remote data and the connected services. All right, let's move into the domain we are mostly interested in, so technical documentation, and this is the KONE technical documentation, of course. So what I always like to say is the content is the queen. So the content is what actually drives the world. We have, of course, lots of different types of content in the world, and of course in the businesses. But one really important part of this is the instructions we give to either our maintenance technicians, installation people, or then the end users. And the content rules that world. Then when we talk about content, we of course need tools. They are the enablers for the queen. So without the tools, we cannot, of course, produce and deliver that content to where we need that to go. KONE content creation. I will now shortly show you what is our vision and how we have organized within KONE technical documentation content creation team. So global presence, as I said, operations in about 60 countries. We have R&D centers globally and on almost every continent. I work in the Hyvinkää location in Finland, and our teams are then located in the US and Mexico, India and China, in addition to the Hyvinkää team. So we are a global business serving different sites and of course working in different time zones, even within our own department. Then content creation at KONE. AM guides has been in use since 2020. Kristian will give you some insight into our setup in a while. But what we are doing within KONE technical documentation, we are implementing DITA 1.3 that has been implemented since the migration into AEM. DITA 1.2 has been in use since 2015 when we first started our XML journey. So DITA is something that we are really serious about, and we of course love DITA in my department. Our focus has been keeping it as simple as possible. We are not customizing anything unless it's strictly necessary. We haven't actually customized anything yet, so we've gone pretty far without customizing anything. Oasis DITA out of the box. And we're also using a limited set of elements. DITA includes quite a lot of software side of things that we are currently not using. I said that we are moving into the software side of things, but even there we've really limited the set of elements for simplicity purposes and of course for the ease of authoring as well. Our vision is always to have one source, then reuse and single source with that. So if possible, we always like to use whatever is there already. So we do this across the information products that we use and then also across the delivery channels. So trying to find anything that is already there, already written, already translated, and then reusing and single sourcing that same content. Content creators at KONE. So with AM guides, we have around 45 content creators globally, as I said, working in different time zones. And then if we look at the whole of AEM, including the asset management, around 100 users globally. So AM guides is only one part of our setup, but then of course we have opportunities for reuse and cooperation also outside of KONE technical documentation. And teams located globally. That gives us lots of opportunities, of course, but then also challenges with different things. Of course, China, India, Mexico, never basically working in the same time zone, so that requires quite a lot of coordination within our teams. So KONE content creation vision. So I already touched on this, but here's something like a more in-depth look at this. So we want to reuse content across publications. We started with topic level reuse. So we tried to create independent, whenever possible, of course, independent units, topics that can be easily reused. And of course, that means that leaving out things like reuse barriers, like product names, for example. Then moved on also to conrefing, and then have been implementing now also conditional profiling within our teams. You can also see that we are not using all of the DITA advanced features yet. We also want to keep it simple if possible. So we do not want to put in basically implement something just for the sake of implementing it. So we try to find reasoning, and we want to find, like, let's say, wins with anything we do, instead of trying to just do fancy things. So that is also easier from our global setup point of view. Then if we move into the single sourcing side, so across media, we are reusing or single sourcing whole publications with data maps and all the related topics. And then also we can single source single topics within, so different channels. We are not limiting the channels. Kristian will also talk about the outputs that we currently have, but I always say that there is no basically limit where you can go with this, so you can always start single sourcing to another media when you feel like it, or when the business requires it, maybe more like that. Another thing that we have been really pushing lately is going from static publications to dynamically built publications. So if you look at static publications, they are pre-generated, published as they are. So you basically compile a data map with topics and then publish that into different output formats, and then it is used as it is. This is, of course, a one-size-fits-all standard solution. Can be definitely in multiple formats, so you can still publish the different channels, but it will always be the same publication, regardless of who is using it, or basically for which equipment that is for. But we have now worked heavily on moving into more dynamic way of publishing, so that our publications would be compiled on the fly based on the needs. They are personalized and customized mainly now from the equipment point of view, but of course other factors can come in here. So you might have a different publication for one piece of equipment, and then when you move and maintain another one, you will have another customized piece of information for that one. And of course, these can be also in multiple formats. So coming from XML, of course, then you can show them in HTML, PDF, or anything else that you basically are implementing. But this is now giving us our documentation more personalized look and feel, of course, and then also helping in task completion, because then we can offer more accurate instructions for maintenance, for example. Then I also like to talk about contextual information. So instead of doing those static, basically one-size-fits-all information products, we like to focus on precisely what the maintenance technician needs for each task, each specific situation, and their needs based on the task that they need to complete. So task completion is at the core of what we do with our information design and information architecture. They want to find precisely what they want, what they need, and of course avoid the irrelevant. So in many cases, if you include lots of different options and that specific equipment, they don't have it, then it is just clutter and nonsense to that maintenance technician. So we like to focus on what is actually precisely with that equipment. And then again, information that adapts to you, to the person using it, and the device they are using. So scalable, responsive information. And of course, moving into also being offered intelligent suggestions of different alternative ways of doing it, or then also alternative ways of learning. So we also work in together with our learning and development to try to develop a whole concept for them, so that would then offer them from novices to experts like a good experience on using the information. And then Kristian, to you for the AEM, more technical side of AEM setup.
Thank you. Yes. So let's look at our journey a little bit. So we started the XML journey in 2015. Then KONE only were using HTML and nothing really, not that much reuse and so forth. But I think this is a bit old slide, was shown already earlier in some event. But I wanted to show here that we have taken deliberate steps and planned steps and enhancing our solutions step by step. So you need to start from somewhere, but our XML journey in KONE started basically in 2015. Probably to shortly highlight here, so we did the AEM transition in 2020 during worst pandemic time, but managed to migrate to AEM during 2020. So if we a little bit look deeper into what we have in AEM today, so we are on the managed service option. We're running AEM guides non-UUID. We have plans to move to the UUID version of guides as soon as possible, but might still be a bit delayed, late this year, hopefully. We are also using a single sign-on solution that is common for KONE, which means that we are actually managing the users outside AEM itself. So user access and role access happens through the KONE common single sign-on solution. Probably something to note here, we are only using the web editor. So this was something that was debatable in the beginning when we moved to AEM, that can a web editor actually work for a big team like this with specific content creation needs. But so far, business has been happy with using only the web editor. So we are not using any thick clients. We are only using the inbuilt web editor in AEM guides. Because Adobe Experience Manager is an asset management solution, we are also in KONE using the same solution on marketing and training teams. So they are basically storing and managing their assets in AEM as well. Currently, we are only having one publisher license or publishing publisher instance, let's say so, meaning that it is only the marketing team that is publishing their assets through a publisher's instance. In the authoring, we are having help from Acrolinks. So it is important when, as Hanna mentioned, the authoring teams are sitting all over the globe. We want to have a consistent tone of voice and using the same terms and whatsoever. So we are using the, I would say, very well working integration with the XML editor. So we're checking our content against Acrolinks. Also, the illustration teams that are creating our drawings and illustrations for technical content, they are linking via their creative tools using the asset link. And last but not least, also we have now in production dynamic media. That means that on the KONE.com sites, they are able to use the dynamic media renditions of content that is published from the marketing teams. Anna mentioned a little bit, but of course I have the PDF option here as the first one, but of course we are trying to move away to more dynamic and responsive options. But of course we need to be able to create PDFs. Our current processes demand that we have a version of installation and maintenance documents also in PDF formats, a couple of different formats there. But I would say that the big move is to try to get more into this dynamic, as Hanna mentioned as well. So we are also publishing the same single sourced content into a solution where we are delivering the content, like more portal type of solution. So all of our installation and maintenance documents are also available in a browsable view. Probably the important one what comes to the augmented reality tests we have been doing and so forth is that our delivery solution also is available using REST API. So that means basically that we have applications, small application, for instance, for technicians, and the content in those applications are actually retrieved via programmatically via the REST APIs, so that it kind of guides the technicians to the right instructions, and also helps them in their work. Related to that, so I tend to call our AEM guide solution as the how solution in KONE. So basically answering the how to install, how to maintain, how to do things in a safe way. Also aligning it with the method developers that are kind of constantly trying to make our methods smarter, better, safer, and so forth. But actually what and when solution is not what AEM is. So we have, as we saw in the video, we have AI tools that analyze what could have or what has gone wrong, trying to prevent things. And whenever the technician gets the task into his hand, then AEM is basically the enabler for giving the correct instructions for the user. What are we experimenting with? I'm using a phrase, or we are using a phrase here from one of our colleagues. So basically we have noticed that, hey, we have the content. We have a lot of good content that's being created by our teams. So let's use it. So in that point of view, we think that the future is really, really bright, and wanting to show one example of that. We have been already for some years been testing with smart glasses, and the nice thing here is that the content is created by the content teams. We are using the same content to deliver PDFs or content to the portal, but it can also be leveraged in smart glasses. So this is one of the beauties of DITA, of course, that we are creating semantical content. And if you are really checking the small pictures, you can actually see that it is me trying to use the smart glasses to do a simple task. And I have to highlight that I'm not a technician, so I'm really not a technician, but I was actually able to follow the instruction quite nicely with the glasses. So it was a really nice experience. One thing still to show the final slide here, that no matter what we are kind of creating and how fancy things we are doing, a little bit second in here, Hanna when saying that we don't use all the DITA features. It doesn't matter how fancy things we are doing if we are not helping the human. So it is everything we do, we are trying to make it easy, safe for the actual technician to do their job. That is the prior one. And I guess that ends our short presentation, so we are now open for questions.